about the differences between diversity and inclusion, because quite often it's used in the same sentence, almost as if it's the same thing, but in actual fact, diversity and inclusion are two very different things. So let me talk about these differences. Diversity is talking about people's people's differences, basically, whether you're a woman or an ethnic minority, person of color, if you're gay or lesbian, if you have a different religious persuasion, and all of these differences matter. And inclusion, on the other hand, means how do you create and embed an inclusive environment? How do you know that just because you've got diverse people that you've created an inclusive environment? I often say to my clients, just because you've got them doesn't mean you get it. And the it is the inclusive environment. So what are examples of an inclusive environment? First of all, I always believe that you have to be asking your employees how they feel about working in the organization. So you need to be willing to hear their stories. You need to know whether people in your organization feel that they're allowed to bring more of their authentic self. Are women allowed to lead as a woman? Have you increased and enhanced your peripheral vision around what you think of as leadership competencies? Quite often we have a Western filter on what we see as being a competent leader. So have you looked at that? Do you expect Asians, for example, to lead in the same way as a Western leader? Do you expect women to lead in a way that you would really define as a male culture? And so when you ask yourself these questions, when you hear their stories, on religion, for example, do you have a prayer room that accommodates different religious beliefs? And all of these things are indicative of how inclusive your environment is. But the reality is you need to be able to know the difference between diversity and inclusion. You can't just look around your organization and say, we've got a diverse workforce, therefore that means we are sensitive.